Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. In this series of webinars, we will primarily be focusing on items which affect your business directly, which affect your revenues directly, which affect your profits and margins directly. So we will be working with our alliance partners, including Microsoft, to be able to offer a solution which would meet your needs. Okay. So in the first of this series, we're going to talk about how you are able to launch any Microsoft Cloud service and be able to bill your customer as well. Because in our recent survey, what we had organized, we understood that billing is one of the biggest pain points for a cloud solution provider. And in this webinar, we will explore a little bit more about what tools do you need to be able to bill your customer appropriately. So as you can see from this screen here, Microsoft offers a huge number of cloud services, right? Predominantly focusing on the infrastructure space, where it offers, for example, database as a service. It offers anything from virtual machine being the most simplest of the forms to probably the most latest of them, including AI and cognitive services or IoT services. Okay. So now all of these services are easily made available by Microsoft to its end customers via the CSPs. So you as CSPs have a task of offering these in a much more easier way to your customers, and offering them is just one part of the solution. Okay? Being able to bill them, rate them for their actual consumption is completely a different beast altogether. So in this slide, as you're seeing, quite a number of services available. And today we will be focusing on how you can make these services to your customers and what tools do you need to be able to bill your customer as well. Okay, so in this model, you can actually give the complete control of the Azure subscription to the customer. So when a customer comes to purchase an Azure subscription, you can provision that subscription automatically. And for that automatic provisioning to take place, you would need a tool. And we're going to focus on that tool today. And the tool in question is called RackNAP. So RackNAP is a cloud services delivery platform which helps you to automate the provisioning of these cloud services, right? So in the Azure scenario, we are focused on delivering it in the terms of Azure subscription access to the end customer. So the customer has complete control over the subscription. But then next comes the other challenge, what we talked about earlier, which is about billing. And apart from billing, there are a lot of back-end business functions which you need to perform to run your business. And RackNAP as a tool helps you to offer some of that to your end customers. So this slide, what you're seeing here, is primarily a slide which talks about the functional overview about RackNAP, where RackNAP gives you, the CSP, a marketplace to operate. Okay? So I'm just going to do a quick poll right now to understand, for example, what is your most critical revenue generating service which you're offering right now to your end customers? Okay. We'll wait for a minute for the poll results to come in. Okay, the results have come in. Um, some of you are saying that Office 365 is probably your most important revenue generating service, and some of you are suggesting Dynamics 365 as one of them. Okay, so effectively, to add on to what I was saying earlier, uh, RackNAP offers you a marketplace to be able to sell your services directly to your end customers or indirectly via channel partners as well to your end customers. So let's quickly find out how many of you are directly selling to customers and indirectly selling to customers, because RackNAP can cater to the needs of both of them. Let's do a quick poll to understand how the spread of customer CSPs are here in this forum. All right. Most of the attendees here, they are primarily a CSP indirect partner. From what I understand it to be, is they have a contractual relationship with a distributor, and they are connected to Microsoft via the distributor, and then be able to sell the Microsoft services to customers. So excuse me. So here, RackNAP is able to cater to the needs of both direct and indirect customers. If you are an MSP who has evolved over a number of years, offering dedicated servers, VPSs, and WordPress hosting, shared hosting services to your end customers, we have found that these MSPs or hosters are evolving themselves, they're transforming themselves to become cloud solution providers. And as a part of their new portfolio, they are primarily starting to offer some of the services what you highlighted in your poll earlier. So, for example, some of them are offering Office 365, some of them are offering Azure, some of them are offering Dynamics 365, etc. So, all of these are widely being offered by the CSPs, and RackNAP as a tool has the capability to offer these in a much more efficient way via its marketplace. Okay. And apart from these services, whatever I have mentioned here, I know today the focus of this session is going to be purely on Microsoft, but to add to what I was stating earlier, RackNAP is a true multi-cloud platform, helping to offer non-Microsoft services as well, which are services from other cloud providers like Amazon, IBM SoftLayer, etc. as well. And when you're offering Office 365 to your end customers, you potentially would be wanting to offer them a domain to go with your email with their email licenses. So, for example, RackNAP has integration built in with OpenSRS and Logic boxes, with which you have capability to offer more than 1,100 TLDs, top level domains. Okay? So you have a broadest set of portfolio of domains you can offer. You can offer the broadest set of Microsoft services as well from RackNAP. So what else you need? You need the tool to be able to start going and selling. Okay? So all of these services, what you're selling here via the RackNAP marketplace, is powered by these modules here. So there is an ordering module helping to collect orders from the customer, place it, bundle them with other services together. You can bill the customer as per the core essence of this session about pay-per-use billing. You can provision services automatically where we have API integrations enabled. So where you don't have API integrations enabled, RackNAP can help with manual provisioning where possible, and also be able to uh, have a workflow based management there as well. And when customers are buying services from one provider, which is you, let's say they are buying 4 services from yourself, they ideally want to be able to find out what are the health of the service, how much they have been billed, etc. So they need a self-service portal to be able to manage and look at that. And RackNAP offers that as well. And as you may very well know, you being a CSP, Microsoft mandates you as CSP to be offering support capabilities, support aspects for your customers. So RackNAP offers a support ticketing module. If you're offering data center services, which includes, for example, VPSs hosted on your DC or your dedicated servers, RackNAP has an inventory management module helping to track assets in your data center, tracking them right from the time it starts in the procurement cycle, along with the purchase order, etc. You can track that from the platform, whereby you can track it until delivery. Okay? And sales and marketing, without sales, there is no business. So effectively, you need a good tool to be able to manage your sales function. Marketing, you always want to be in touch with your customer, understanding what they're saying, running promotions, campaigns, etc. So RackNap's marketing module helps you to deal with that. Partner management, as some of you have mentioned, that being a partner of a large distributor is very important. So it'll be great if you as a partner get a tool to be able to manage your customers. So this is where RackNAP steps in as well. And business intelligence, to understand the health of your service, how it is operating, it's important to have an effective business intelligence module. So going back to the subject of this webinar, we talk about how you can launch Microsoft Cloud services. Yes, for launching any of the services, you would need a marketplace. You would need a methodology or a business model with which you can offer this in a subscription prepaid model or a pay-per-use model. So RackNAP is able to help us satisfy those key aspects of the scope of this webinar. Okay. So in the subsequent slides, we'll briefly talk about how this happens in real life. Okay. So before that, I'll take you through a live walkthrough of how are these services being provisioned as well. Okay. So as you may be seeing here, this is a website of a CSP Tier 1, who is a direct partner. It doesn't have to be a direct partner, it can be an indirect partner as well, who is able to offer services to end customers. So here, this provider is offering a huge number of services, which includes Azure being the primary or core service on offer. Okay. So here, this provider says this is purely on a pay-per-use model. And for example, this provider is running a promotion where he's saying he will refund a credit of 5,000 rupees till 31st December. And similarly, you can run some promotions like this as well. And RackNAP offers this kind of marketplace, something similar to this, to you as a CSP. So when your customer comes to this portal to buy, they will effectively be signing up for a purchase from here. If they are a new customer, they put their details on the left-hand side. If they're an existing customer, they put it on the right-hand side here. And here, for example, I'm just going to use an existing customer credentials here. So here, the system is now validating against the RackNAP database because the customer is already a pre-existing customer. And if you see here, one interesting aspect here is there is something called an Azure fund. This is like a security deposit, a budget limit, or a credit limit for the customer, which you are defining in your backend. So in the RackNAP gives you the capability to understand the credit exposure for your customer and then be able to set that limit here. You can set a global limit for the entire customers range, and then you can subsequently go and change them as you need as well. We can build that capability too. And also, when the customer provides his house name, for example, the system basically checks whether, for example, this house name is available for provisioning the subscription. And on successful validation, RackNAP offers the customer the ability to make this pending payment for the security deposit. Right? And RackNAP has integration done with a few payment gateways, and we are conscious that you will have different payment gateways for your region, etc. And the customer can select the payment gateway and then be able to make a payment accordingly. Okay. And if you're running some promotions and if the customers have a promotion code, they can put that in here and then get any discounts or coupons appropriately applied. Okay. So here, this is a very simplistic way, as you can imagine, within about 2 clicks. One is I clicked on the sign up, I put my details in, and I'm here in the checkout form. So it cannot be any simpler than this in terms of the purchasing flow. So RackNAP offers you this most simplistic way of offering the purchasing journey to the customer. And I know some of you mentioned in this webinar poll earlier that Office 365 is also one of your key services, which is revenue generating. So let me quickly show you something on Office 365. So here, for example, Microsoft has hundreds of SKUs available under the CSP catalog, and you may not necessarily want to offer every one of them to your end customers. You may be wanting to select a subset from that entire list, because the entire list offering the 300 products, etc., could be a mighty big daunting task for the customer to identify what's going on. So what RackNAP is able to do is give you that subset to be offered on the marketplace. And here the customer can now make a purchase of a particular plan what he wishes from the marketplace. And this website, what you're seeing is a white labeled WordPress based website. That's what we will be giving it to you when we build RackNAP for you, or when we deploy RackNAP for you. The customer is able to select the different offerings from here. And for example, in this scenario, the customer has chosen one particular product, one particular SKU from here to purchase. So here, the customer now selects, for example, a particular domain, as I mentioned earlier, for the purchase. And yes, there is a whois availability check done. The system says, yes, I have this domain available for purchase, and the customer can choose his number of email hosting licenses, or what number of licenses what he needs to purchase here. So the system has now confirmed, yes, that this comes up to a total of about 0.29 million, or if you do it on a monthly basis, is about 8,600. And the currency option, what you're seeing, RackNAP has flexibility to change and offer products in different currencies in your local currency. If you're offering something in Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, whichever region you operate in, RackNAP has capability to do the appropriate local currency. We have integrations done with Google API, with which you can pick up the pretty much the latest exchange rate as of the previous nice closing balance, and then be able to offer that latest exchange rate to your end customers. So if you see here, this customer has placed an order for an Office 365 plan for this particular price for 11 licenses, and he has purchased a domain as well. So going back to the attendees in this poll here, I think we heard that Office 365 is one of their killer service or anchor service, and on top of it, Dynamics 365 is also one of them. So like how you saw in the front page how a particular product for Essential Suite was displayed, we will typically be displaying something similar for example, Dynamics 365 as well. So each of these products have an appropriate, product ID or a code in the back end. RackNAP will use that code to be able to display that Dynamics 365 plan in here for purchase. So once the customer has made a purchase, he basically will be entering his payment card details. RackNAP provisions that service against your Partner Central CSP account. And if you are a direct partner, it will directly be associated with your CSP account in Partner Central, or if you are an indirect partner going via the distributor, then the request for provisioning will go via your distributor to Microsoft. So we have a number of distributors available in the market, Crayon, Ingram Micro, Tech Data, Synex, and quite a varied number of them in the market. RackNAP is already pre-integrated with distributor like Crayon. We are happy to integrate with any other distributor if that is who you transact with. RackNAP can do that integration via APIs to that particular distributor, and then you can get your services provisioned there as well. Okay? And for example, apart from the currency aspect, I would also like to make a mention that RackNAP is multilingual enabled, which means if you're operating, for example, in the Japanese market, Korean market, etc., RackNAP is able to offer a capability of the platform in the local language as well. Okay. So if you see here, so we have concluded just the purchasing journey of the customer. Let's quickly wrap up the management of the customer's services, what he has purchased. So we just briefly saw the purchasing flow. Now this is a self-service portal where the customer is actually looking at the services what he purchased. So this is the name of the customer, the services what he purchases here, the support tickets what he's logging should go on here, billing information or invoices, orders, receipts, ledgers, quotation, and all of that, they appear under the billing section. So under the My Services section, I'm quickly going to open up, for example, an Azure subscription which we originally were planning to buy from the marketplace. If you see here, this is basically the name of the Azure subscription, the host name which was used to make the purchase, and because we have direct integration enabled with the CSP Partner Central portal, RackNAP has provisioned the subscription and given you the subscription ID here. So associating with the webinar title, how do you offer the entire range of Microsoft services? So you empower the customer by giving him the username and password for the subscription, which means he has complete control over what services he can consume from the Microsoft catalog. So if you see here, he purchased this on this particular date. In terms of usage information, the customer can actually go and create any services on the Microsoft portal by himself. And once he has done that, then he is actually now able to get his usage calculated, and that is what will be displayed when he clicks on the show button. So if you see here, this is basically the list of all the Azure services or SKUs which he has consumed, and this gives him, for example, the virtual machine instances, the storage, the network, the data management resource categories, the uploads and downloads, geo-redundant spacing, database, etc. So all what he has consumed, right, is now rated. Okay, so consumption in terms of actual usage from the customer's perspective is captured from the Azure CSP portal, and that is rated against the margins what you will be setting. So let's say Microsoft offers a particular service at, let's say, $1 for a particular SKU in question or a particular resource in question. RackNAP gives you the capability to set a margin on top of that cost price. So let's say this is $1, you set a 20% margin. So the rate, what you will see here on this rate column, will be $1.2 because you have set a 20% margin on top of that $1. So all of this is rated here, and this is the total consumption at the bottom right corner. So what is interesting about this is the customer is actually now being able to be alerted against that budget limit or threshold limit what we talked about. So if the customer has a budget limit of 5,000 and if its consumption says 3,500, then RackNAP is able to tell him to say, hey, you have consumed 70% of your allocated budget limit. So please go ahead and top up if you need to, etc. So you can send custom email alerts to your customers as well based on actual consumption. Okay? So this is effectively how RackNAP is able to bill for your customers, because RackNAP has built-in API integration with which it can retrieve usage from Azure portal and then be able to report against it and rate against it as well. Okay. So now if you go back to the customer self-service portal, now that we looked at the billing aspect of it, RackNAP is able to generate invoices from the platform here, whereby it is able to show the end customer which invoices have been generated for what services. Okay. So if you see here, this is basically the invoice which was generated on this date, generated against this particular customer and for this particular service over a period of time, and the total consumption for this is this much, which is the 24,265 plus any taxes applied. So RackNAP can handle taxation from different countries or regions. So this is able to give you the accurate billing for actual consumption and against that customer's Azure subscription. So to summarize what we have seen so far, we looked at how the customer is able to make an Azure subscription purchase from the RackNAP platform. We also looked at how the customer is able to actually make a purchase of any other Microsoft service, which includes, for example, Office 365 as an example. Once the purchase is concluded, customer has made the payment, customer's services get provisioned automatically in the CSP portal. He gets his credentials to the CSP portal with which he can completely control any Microsoft service what he wishes to consume. So which means you are empowering the customer with complete access for the Azure subscription. So once that is concluded, now the RackNAP platform collects usage, rates the usage based on actual consumption and on the margins what you have defined on the platform for the cost price of Microsoft, and then you are able to generate invoices like this as you're seeing here. So this is effectively how you do it. You need a tool. This tool will effectively automate the provisioning and bill them as well, and RackNAP helps you to do that. Okay, apart from the invoicing aspect of it, a couple of other things more from a customer perspective. As you may very well know, Microsoft demands that CSPs offer support to their end customers. So RackNAP has a homegrown or a self-built ticketing module with which your customers can log tickets with you, and you can track them for resolving these issues, etc. etc. And this ticketing module has automatic ticket allocation capability per product for your engineer. So if you have, let's say, a database as a service resource or plan, then you can automatically allocate that to your database team. So RackNAP has capability for automatic ticket allocation. You have escalation capability as well. So when you have defined SLAs for issue resolution, and if these defects are not resolved within the agreed time frame, RackNAP offers this escalate capability whereby your customers can escalate it to the next higher hierarchy for resolution at a much faster, quicker pace. Okay, so RackNAP is able to do that as well. And then once you have done that, okay, all of this ends up in the backend queue of RackNAP. And what we're going to do next is primarily look at that aspect of it around how the administrators of the CSP are able to manage the customers here. So now what I'm showing you here is primarily the administrator portal where you are able to manage everything for your customers and for your services as well, what you're offering. Okay, so as you can see here, there are quite a number of menus on the top of the screen. So these menus are role-based menus whereby if you are a product manager, you primarily get to view the product owner's view or a product manager's view, listing all the services what are on offer, and you can look at all the services what you have offered, let's say from an Office 360 perspective. And similarly, let's say you are a marketing person, you can look at all the emails which are generated from the platform. You can also for example, send SMS reminders to your customers as well. We have integration done with an SMS gateway called Value First, with which you can generate email reminders, because for any subscription based service it's very important that you continuously are in touch with the customer about reminding them about the responsibility to make their payments. So this is, for example, renewal before 1 day, 7 days, 3 days, etc. So you can send subsequent reminders. And other important aspect is promotions. When the market is a very commoditized market, it's very important that you run some good promotions to keep the interest of the customer going. So here, let's say you are offering a promotion for Boxing Day, and here you can generate automatic coupon codes here, and you can give discounts in terms of percentages. Let's say you offer them a 50% discount for, let's say, a shared hosting service or something like that, and then you can give them discounts on billing cycles. You can tell them, I will give you discount only if it's a quarterly plan or a monthly plan or an yearly plan, etc. And then you can define the start dates for this, you can define the end dates for this, and to avoid misuse of this promotion, you can limit the total number of usages of that discount as well. And as you may appreciate, a lot of telcos now, they are offering services or discounts only for, let's say, new customers. They pretty much don't offer that kind of huge discounted offerings for existing customers. But RackNAP gives you the flexibility to offer this for both type of partners, to say existing new signups or existing signups, etc. And going back to the discussions about products, so I can look at, for example, a product manager's view, etc. Here, this is a portfolio of the actual product manager looking at all the products which has been sold for this particular portfolio. And now if I'm wanting to, for example, offer, let's say, if I'm wanting to manage, let's say, an end customer's record here, so I'm just doing that right now, whereby I'm going into this customer's record, looking at what information is stored in the RackNAP database against this customer's record. Okay, so if you see here, this is everything with regard to the customer's profile. This is a bright green on the right hand side, stating that the customer does not owe any money. You as a service provider probably owe some money, etc. And here in this scenario, there is nothing to be owed as such because it's a zero here. And then the next aspect is, for example, the total number of products and services on offer. So for example, here, this gives you the complete list of product offerings here, which is listing every service which the customer has purchased so far. And if you want to offer, managed services, whereby you want to control all of that from RackNAP, you can do that by directly clicking on this link. You can also look at invoices, quotations, orders, receipts, ledger, everything to do with financial transactions of the customer. They go in here. And also other important thing is around security aspect of it. So RackNAP offers, audit logs facility. Pretty basic, you would imagine. But here RackNAP is able to get you information on who accessed this record, when was it last accessed, what transactional reference was done against this particular record, etc., etc. So you can check all of that directly in here. And also, for example, if you have identity documentation which you are wanting to attach against the customer's record, you can certainly do that as well from here. Okay, so we looked at a customer's record, we looked at a product manager's view, we looked at a marketing view, and one other important thing is, as you may imagine, no customer comes to purchase anything the first time they come to your portal. So they typically come in a few times, they go to your competitor's website, understand what products they are offering, at what price point they are offering, etc., and then subsequently makes a purchase. So this duration of conversion could be very lengthy. So what RackNAP offers is this kind of opt-in forms in the marketplace, with which it can capture the actual contact details of the customer and start an engagement with the customer, with which the customer is able to starting to interact with your team. So RackNAP builds this, gives you this kind of opt-in forms, and these are forms which are scattered, which can be scattered all over your website, and all the details what is captured, they end up in the opt-in lead section. Okay, so now this appears in this section. Now you can start connecting the customer with this particular phone number what he has purchased, what he has shared, and you can also understand where or in which tagged website URL link you have got this customer data from. For example, he would have come in from, let's say, the shared hosting plan section, or an Azure plan section, or an Office plan section, etc. So RackNAP can identify that, and once your account manager has validated this customer's record, he can add him as a lead, and then now start tracking him as a potential, nurture him, and then convert him to a customer. Very important to have the full-blown sales life cycle all in one place. Okay? Then the very important aspect is forecasting, and I'm sure most of you would understand sales forecast is one of the key elements in terms of predicting how much revenues you plan to bring in. And this is where revenue for renewal forecast comes in, very important. Here you are able to understand what are your revenue forecasts coming in, for example, the next 12 days, which will take us until the end of October. So here you look at all the different filter options. Depending on that, you choose the search of filter options, and now here this actually list will give you the total number of subscriptions or services which are due for renewal in the next 12 days, the total number of customers which are affected as a part of this or who owe a renewal, and also the total value in terms of the renewal cost as well. Okay, so this helps you and your account managers to understand how much they have to money to bring in for this particular month, etc., and helps you with your forecasting in a more effective way. Okay, and also you can productize this in the sense that you can categorize these renewals on a per product basis and on a activation service dates, etc. And also you can also filter it by follow-up dates as well, because when you are actually selecting this list here, as you can see here, there are 3,662 items in here in terms of customers here. It's a massive list, as you can see here, and every customer has an associated account manager here, and the total value of the service is on the right hand side, and you can start contacting the customer and then following up with them as well. So renewal forecast, very important to understand the health of your renewal business, how much MRRs you are bringing in, what is monthly recurring revenue, etc., right? So billing subsequently is important, very aligning with this, with the definition of the scope of this webinar. So all the invoices which are generated, they appear under the invoice section. Receipts is money coming in, etc. Support, we talked about support aspects around ticket allocations, etc. And there is inventory capability where you can add your hardware inventory, software inventory, network inventory, etc. as well. And last but not the least is all the things which are the under the hood stuff. The under the hood meaning everything which helps you in managing the platform and configuring the platform. So as I mentioned earlier, all of these menu items on the top, they are role based, so you can define all of that roles in here. You can define new starters, terminations, and everything under the user section. You can define your company's branding guidelines, settings, and everything in here. And for example, all your plans and products on offer, you can configure them here, including your margins, connectivity to the CSP portal, all of that kind of stuff you can define in here. And if you recall, the original title of this webinar is about how do you offer all or any of your Microsoft services. So you can actually import the entire CSP catalog from here, from an Office 365 perspective, and there are more than 300 plus SKUs like that on offer from Microsoft. So the RackNAP gives you a very easy to use way of uploading a CSP catalog which you would have downloaded from the CSP portal. So you download that CSP catalog from the Microsoft portal, select it here, you upload it, and you pretty much are able to offer any SKU from that listing. Okay, so we just come up to the 45th minute of this webinar. So I'm just going to quickly wrap up here right now to summarize the entire session, what we talked about. So in terms of what RackNAP as a platform is able to offer for this is it can provision an Azure cloud subscription and give the customer the complete control to manage a subscription. RackNAP can set a budget limit and a credit limit as well, with which customers' usage or completely be rated and notified to him as well. RackNAP can also generate threshold-based or credit limit-based alerts as well, and we can also help you to set flexible margins on the platform for different SKUs. And last but not the least is generate invoices at a regular frequency based on a real pay-per-use model based on actual consumption. Okay. So that's pretty much everything what I wanted to share today. So you can launch multiple Microsoft services and build them as well. And for that, you need a tool, and RackNAP is your answer for that. Okay. With that, I'll pause here for a couple of minutes to see if there are any questions from anyone in the forum here. And please remember, as per the communication sent earlier, we have this series of webinars continuously running with different interesting topics, which helps you to improve profitability, etc. So please feel free to join the subsequent sessions as well. And we have repeat sessions. So in your organization, if there are people who haven't had the opportunity to attend this session, we have a repeat of this in about 13 hours from now, which will give you another opportunity to attend this in a different time zone if you're in. Okay. Yes, I have a question here. Can I have a trial for RackNAP as well? Yes, of course you can. Please get in touch with us via our RackNAP portal, or you can get in touch with us at touch@racknap.com, with which you will get a demo account with which you can play with complete the platform end to end. All right, we'll just give one other question. Okay. What was the Azure Fund, right? So Azure Fund is primarily one where in a pay-per-use model, there is always a risk for the CSP that what if the customer does not pay at the end of his billing period, right? So there is always that risk. To minimize that risk, you as a CSP can define this budget limit or a credit limit, and this is exactly that Azure Fund. This is like a security deposit or a budget limit or a credit limit. That's the first one. Then I can see key features which are important for an indirect CSP partner is indirect partners, resellers must be able to view customers' Azure consumption. Yes, they can view that under the admin panel. Indirect partners, resellers must have ability to invoice its customer. Yes, that can be done by our RackNAP. They have the ability to set different prices for different resellers. Yes, you can set different prices for different resellers. We have capability to do that as well. And then indirect partners must have the ability to view each reseller's Azure consumption for usage and reconciliation, right? So we don't have currently a mechanism for direct reconciliation yet, but we can build such capability for you if you need, and this is something which we can certainly work with. These are very, very important requirements what you have highlighted here. We are happy to take this offline, work with you to clarify which ones are readily available, which ones we can build them, because the platform is evolving by the day, every single day. So with your inputs and feedback, we can refine it even more. Fantastic questions here coming from a lot of people here. So I will take this opportunity to connect with the person who has raised this one offline, and we will continue the conversation. But very, very, very important questions. Some of the features what you highlighted are there, some of them are not there. We can work with you to actually develop these in the course of the implementation. Okay. And there is a question about trial account. Yes, typically we give you a demo account for about 21 days. This is a 3-week period during which we give a structured program of playing with the demo account, and you can understand how the capabilities work as well there. Okay, last 20 seconds before we wrap up. Okay, looks like there are no more questions right now. So thank you very much all for your time. As I said, we have this series of webinars happening in the subsequent weeks as well, with the repeat happening in about 13 hours time. Please feel free to join us if you have any more questions. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead.